Israel is at war. Israel will finish it. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come.
Today, civilians are bombed. De facto, these babies, these ladies, these old people are bombed and killed. There is no reason for that and no legitimacy. So we do urge Israel to stop.
And the people are screaming for the food in there. Some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that.
يا رب يا رب يا رب سلم يا رب.
Palestinian protests shut down the Oscars tonight.
In Gaza, pain is in the air people breathe. Since October 2023, over 2 years of relentless suffering have left 2.1 million Palestinians trapped in a reality where every day brings hunger, loss, and anguish. This isn't about politics or number. It's about what it feels to live through an unended wound. Hunger gnaws at every family. Food is scarce, and what little exists costs more than anyone can imagine. Parents go without to give anything to their children that they can have a bite on. But often there is nothing left. Over 90,000 children have been starved. Their bodies are weakening, their eyes carrying a quiet plea. The lack of food isn't just physical. It's a deep ache, a fear that tomorrow will be emptier than today. The blockade, which has tightened since March, has cut off life's essential. Clean water is gone, and most of the people are trying to replace it with anything which they can find, which is, of course, unsafe. Medicine is a memory, and hospitals stand as hollow shells. Displacement is a way of life. 2 million people, 100% of the Gazan population, they have been forced out of their homes, moved from one place to another, finding only more ruin. The loss of home isn't just walls, it's the theft of safety, of memories, of rest. Sleep is rare, broken by fear and sounds of destruction and Israeli quadcopters. The elderly, the young, the sick, they carry their exhaustion in their bones. Death is close, with over 60,000 lives have already been taken by Israeli forces. But the living face a different pain, watching loved ones suffer, knowing help is far, far away. Aid is a promise which is rarely kept. And when it comes, it's chaos. More than 1,100 people have been killed since May just trying to reach food. The hunger for dignity is as sharp as the hunger for bread. Every day tests the heart, asking how much more can be endured. This is the reality of a genocide, as human rights groups and UN have named it, a deliberate crushing of people through starvation, bombardment, and isolation. The pain is in the waiting, the hoping, the endless grief of seeing no end. Children grow up knowing only this reality. Their laughter has been replaced by silence. Parents carry guilt of what they can't provide. Everyone carries the scars, seen and unseen. And yet, in this apocalypse, Gazans live on. They hold on to each other, to will and to exist, to be seen as human, Their suffering is a call, not for pity, but for the world to acknowledge their pain, to act, to care. This is the Gaza today, who doesn't want any more words from the world. They want action. They want aid. They want an end to this war which has been imposed upon them, which they did not start. They want a place where every heartbeat fights against despair, where every day is a plea to be remembered. Joining us now live from Gaza is Hassan Jaber, who's a Palestinian journalist and has been pretty vocal and active throughout this conflict. Mr. Jaber, welcome to the Global Script. First of all, tell us, where are you right now and what's happening, what's going on in Gaza?
I'm living in Burej camp, which is in the middle area of Gaza Strip. And as you know, the war continues and the killing of the people continues. Also, the starvation and the thirsty is widespread among the people here. Many victims died because of the starvation. The latest statistics shows that like 154 people, among them 90 children, who died from hunger. And there is a sad story after each child or after each victim in Gaza. People are paying the price of this war. This is crazy war, which is against the people, the civilians, not against the military. The military, it ends after 3 or 4 months, but till now, they continue to kill more and more people.
That's 60,000 people. As of today, it's 60,000 people who have died. And just like you said, 60,000 people have died. And just like you said, it's 150 people have died because of starvation. And 90 plus were children who died of hunger. Mr. Jaber, just recently, this Israeli humanitarian group, B'Tselem, has declared this war as a genocide. This is a pretty sensitive word in Israeli society. Do you think it's going to make an impact for the Gaza war?
Yeah. No, it will not stop the war. The Israelis didn't listen to the human rights centers. They continue killing. They don't care about the human rights centers in the world. And from the beginning, they don't let anyone to cover or to talk about what's going on Gaza. They prevented the journalists from all the world from entering Gaza because they want to do the killing, to kill freely without any human rights witnesses.
France and UK both have said on the international forums in New York that they're going to recognize a Palestinian state with 1967 borders. Do you think, does that change anything for the people of Palestine?
It's a good step, yani. We welcome this step, but we first want this step to be more effective and to put pressure on Israel and to stop the killing. If they stop the killing and stop the war, it means that peace will come and the people will feel it. I don't want only statements or words that didn't help at all. We want practical steps that will stop this war as soon as it is possible.
Since the Rafah border has been partially opened And we have seen good photo ops. We have seen good videos of trucks coming in, but we haven't seen anything after. We haven't seen if the aid is being distributed after that. What's the condition of the aid distribution in Gaza right now?
Till now, they are distributing the food, but it doesn't reach the ordinary people. All the local gangs control this food and sell it with high prices. You don't know why they insist on this way to distribute food. Instead of going to the UNRWA United Nations and giving them the food. UNRWA has its workers, its policy, it can distribute. And they have long experience, more than 50 years. And everyone welcome this mechanism. And no one dare to steal or to take this. But now the Israel and America, unfortunately, don't want to recognize UNRWA as a body or a legitimate body that can serve the Palestinians.
While UNRWA was distributing the food during this whole genocide when it was going on, until Israelis introduced the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Organization, which I don't know why it has been introduced, but since UNRWA has been dismantled, before its dismantling, we knew and it was reported that there were 400 different points in Gaza which were distributing food. What's going on right now? How many food distribution points are there in Gaza now?
He refused to recognize UNRWA, and he prevented them, closed their offices, and tried his best in order to give other organization or directly to send the food to the people in the street, and it is goes to the local gangs who are all the time ready to take this and to resell it to the people with high prices. You can't imagine that, for example, 6 months 6 months we didn't eat fish or meat. Even the canned meat we don't eat. A lot of items such vegetable or fruit we don't have, and only we are trying every day to pick up or to buy some food that, as I told you, like lentil soup, as we eat today, lentil soup and macaron.
Mr. Hassan, it's beyond comprehension how you are living in there amid a war zone, which is not a war zone anymore. It's a genocidal zone. But has anything in Israeli aggression has changed in the last few days? Because we have seen that the global pressure from the European nations and from worldwide, even the Donald Trump has now called that Gaza is being starved. Has anything changed for people of Gaza?
Sorry. On the ground, there is no changes at all. The siege continues, the starvation continues, and thirsty also continues, and nothing changed. People are paying the price of this policy, and they are innocent, and they looking for peace to come as soon as it is possible. But there is no results in the ground.
If Rafah border is opened, if Karim bin Salem is opened, do you think that people will be willing to voluntarily go to Egypt and evacuate Gaza?
Not only to open Rafah crossing or Kerem Shalom crossing, but also to guarantee and to protect the goods from the local gangs, from thieves, and to take them directly to the stores of UNRWA or other international organization, and to protect them to begin distributing food for the ordinary people, not to take or to give them by another way to the thieves and the people who are stealing everything.
On ground, we see that when there was a ceasefire, people were celebrating on ground, and Hamas' popularity was growing multifolds. Hamas was celebrating it. Do you think that right now, whatever is happening, has people of Gaza have now? Do they want a change in their leadership, or do they want a political solution to Gaza?
A political solution is the last solution, the lasting situation, and solution is to bring peace to Gazans and to stop the war. And in order to feel secure, and to feel that people are safe. But if they didn't stop the war, it means that all these talks is not good or not benefit the ordinary people. I will tell you something. The people in general in Gaza, they are not Hamas, and they are paying the price of being in Gaza. They voted one in the last election in 2006. They voted for Hamas because there was a corruption of the Palestinian Authority. And they want to take revenge from the Palestinian Authority, and they voted for Hamas. But now the popularity of Hamas is getting down and down every day. And every day people express their sorrow and they feel guilty that they voted for Hamas. But now, no, people will not. And they changed their mind. And if there will be another election, no, they will not vote for Hamas. Only maybe 25.
That's an interesting observation. But having said that, the first thing, the biggest obstacle right now is the IDF, is the Israeli army, which is going on with their aggression, which is going on with their genocidal intentions. They are leveling cities after cities. Beit Hanun has been leveled. North of the Gaza city has been leveled. They've literally turned into a parking lot. It's time that people of Gaza might want to leave. What's the biggest obstacle for the people of Gaza who want to leave Gaza?
Gaza will not, the Gazans will not leave Gaza. They stay in Gaza. They prefer to die in Gaza because they have no choice where to go, how to eat, how to find the houses. Even if they live in tenants, they don't have any choice, another choice. People are stuck in Gaza and they will continue to be in Gaza and not to leave.
Hassan Jaber from a Burej refugee camp in Gaza, thank you so much for joining in. And heartfelt condolences for whatever is happening in Gaza. And we all pray in Pakistan that may the miseries and the catastrophe which Gazans are going through every day, every single minute, may it end sooner than ever. Thank you so much for joining in. Time for a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Keep watching Ocean News. Welcome back to the Global Script. Now, tonight we are turning our focus towards Middle East, where cities like Riyadh, Doha, and UAE are emerging as pivotal hubs in the global geopolitics. All great powers, Russia, China, America, Europe, vie for influence. The region is reshaping the balance of global power. Now, let's dive into why the Middle East is becoming a magnet of global attention. Now, it's no longer just an oil-rich region caught in a conflict. It's a dynamic arena of economic ambition and diplomatic maneuvering. Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, is at the heart of Vision 2030. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's bold plan to diversify economy beyond oil, from futuristic cities like NEOM to hosting global summits, Riyadh is positioning itself as a leader of energy, tech, and finance. In Qatar, Doha has leveraged its natural gas wealth and diplomatic agility to become a global mediator. From brokering talks between Israel and Hamas to hosting 2022 World Cup, Doha's soft power is undeniable. Meanwhile, the UAE, with Dubai and Abu Dhabi, is a hub for trade, innovation, and technology, attracting investments from both East and West. UAE's role in the Abraham Accords and its tech partnerships with the global firms, they underscore its growing clout. Now, these Gulf states are capitalizing on their strategic location, bridging Asia, Europe, and Africa. But what makes them so attractive to global power? It's their ability to balance relationship with rivals. Russia, China, USA, Europe, they are also pursuing their own ambitions. Now, China is deepening its footprint through BRI initiative and major infrastructure projects in Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Egypt. A landmark achievement was brokered by Beijing in 2023 after Saudi and Iran were reapproached, signaling that China has ambitions to stabilize the region. Now, yet its focus remains economic, securing energy supplies and expanding trade, with Middle East-China trade soaring to $284 billion. But that's not recent, that's 4 years ago. Russia is also maintaining its influence. USA, you all know about it. Europe, their markets are completely open for investors from the Arab states. This is going to create a lot of influence for the GCC, for these three GCC nations. Well, joining us now live from Washington, D.C. is Josh Phillips, who's co-founder and national coordinator for the Collegiate Institute of the Middle Eastern Affairs, and also the director of membership and outreach for the IN Network. Thank you so much for joining in. Josh, without much ado, the first question which I'm going to ask you about the Middle East, do you think that Middle East is actually becoming the global hub for the trade between China, Europe, and America?
Good question. I think the issue in that statement is the US. I think that China and Russia are very interested in investment. I think that the US still operates from more of a security focus. I think that's why you see, certain tensions in places like the UAE and Qatar, where you have simultaneously US troops on the ground and also Chinese foreign direct investment. The US has pushed both those nations to expel Chinese influence, but you see a certain reluctance from those two nations in doing that, which I think really demonstrates the emerging role of Chinese investment in the region. I think another really key thing to think about is BRICS, that multilateral institution that is connected China, Russia, Brazil, and most recently the UAE, who attended the most recent conference in Brazil. I think the UAE attending that conference really demonstrates the rising role of the UAE in the global trade. And I think you'll start to see a shift away from the post-neoliberal multilateral order that emerged after the Cold War, and a lot greater rise of places in the global south in the global economy.
But places like Riyadh, Doha, and UAE taking the lead in making Middle East as the global financial hub. Do you think it is feasible? Because Middle East has always been like the war capital of the world. I mean, for the last 40 years, we have been seeing nothing but wars in this part of the world. Do you think that if these three countries, these three cities to be exact, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Riyadh, these four cities, if they are combining together, working together, creating visions together, do you think it is going to actually make Middle East the financial hub of the world?
I think the financial hub of the world is a nuanced term. I don't think that soon that those three countries will become the financial hub of the world. I think that they will become one of many. I think that you see increasing influence in trade deals. Similarly, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, recently influenced Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, in removing sanctions from Syria due to recent economic deals that the Trump administration and the Crown Prince had connected. And so I think you see a growing influence in from Saudi Arabia. I think an important thing to note is the rise of the AI development and infrastructure. The UAE has created a phenomenal model called JICE. And obviously, due to their geographic location, they're very close to the South China Sea, and the supply chains enable direct connection from Taiwan and the semiconductor industry. And so I think that they are well positioned to build up their AI hub and engage in that space. You mentioned cryptocurrency earlier. A bank in the UAE, Bank, has recently been the first, traditional bank to recognize cryptocurrency, and it's being powered by an implementer called Bitpanda, which is a Chinese company. And so I think you see that, increasing bilateral connection.
I have a comment about your trade, about the assessment which you've just made about the global trade, but also about the crypto. I mean, UAE has this. They're leading with this concept of Vara, which has licensed over 1,000 new companies or new platforms for the crypto trade. Doha has seen 120% rise. Riyadh has seen 154% rise year to year in the crypto investments. Don't you think that they're actually attracting the crypto giants from all over the world to come and invest over there?
I absolutely do. I think that they are an attraction. I think that AI hubs will be created in that region. I think that the governments of those three nations have, directed investment in that area because they know that that's going to be a burgeoning industry, something that in the future will really expand and be a good opportunity for them. And you can see that written in the legislation, like Project 2025, like the development of new models like JICE. And in the cryptocurrency field, just like the statistics you just brought up, you can see the effects of increasing foreign connections in those regions. And so, yes, I do think that's going to become a growing industry, and I think we'll have to see what happens.
Riyadh, Doha, Emirates, they all three have been relying heavily on their energy exports. But the globe has, thanks to China, they have been investing heavily in the renewable energy. Thanks to Tesla, people have been, quite friendly with the electric cars. And globally, we have seen that there might be a shrink. People have predicted, there have been models that are predicting that there might be a shrink in the global oil demand, in the global energy demand of through the oil sources, through the fossil sources. Do you think that this is going to impact the economies of these three?
Obviously, Saudi's primary export has been oil, has been for years. However, within the Project 2030 and 2025 legislation, you see the need for the diversification, a decrease on the reliance of oil, both domestically for energy production and internationally for their export economy. I think that they've done well in promoting industries like tourism and manufacturing industries like AI and crypto. And I think that that diversification is going to be key in their long-term support and economic growth.
The countries which are right adjacent to these three, especially the South Asia, I understand that you have been keeping a keen eye on Middle East, and you definitely know that these countries have been focusing heavily on providing manpower for these countries. Apparently now it seems that these countries don't even need manpower anymore. There's blockchain in place. There's a lot of things which are being taken over by AI. Do you think that these countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines, India, they've been investing heavily in the manpower over there and trying to provide human resource? Do you think that with these countries shifting quickly towards technology, these countries who rely heavily on the remittances coming from the GCC are going to take a hit?
I think so. Just to clarify your question, you're saying that the primary export of these, South Asian nations like Bangladesh, India, is primarily manpower, and if they should similarly seek a diversification? Yes?
Exactly. That's my
Okay,
question.
perfect. Good question. I think that specifically India, what I can speak on right now, is they have done a very good job of strategic autonomy in not being entirely dependent on other nations and instead making sure that nations are dependent on them. And you've seen that in the rise of the outsourcing industry from India for online work in the past decade or so. I think that that industry is probably not going to collapse anytime soon, especially due to the burgeoning population rates in India. They have manpower, and places like the GCC can use it. That's why you see a huge source of immigration from places like Pakistan, Bangladesh, India to GCC countries like Oman, where now the population split is nearly 50-50 between expatriates and Omani ethnic groups. And so for me, I think that that industry will continue to be in line. I don't know specifically, or I couldn't speak to the decline of that industry. All I know is that right now it's quite strong.
Do you think that with these changing dynamics in Riyadh, Doha, and UAE, Russia is unstable? We have seen a huge inflow of the Russian investments and the Ukrainian investments in the GCC countries. You walk in Dubai, it doesn't look like Dubai anymore. It looks like you're walking somewhere in the Eastern Europe, but with very good infrastructure, actually. There's a lot of American investments, there investments and investors who are turning towards these countries. We are seeing many Chinese investors and many Chinese tech giants actually trying to take advantage of the Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia and the UAE's policies of WARA. What do you think UAE and Doha and Saudi are going to gain from this?
I think they gain the advantage of being supported by the two primary major economies in the world right now, which is China and the US. I think that right now they're kind of playing a balancing game where they want to accept US and Chinese investment while avoiding the geostrategic competition between the two of them. I think that right now they're reaping the benefits of foreign direct investment from both nations while not having any of the consequences of being allied with two nations who are in strategic competition against one another. And so I think that as that continues to grow, that could come to a head. The US has already issued sort of final statements or warnings in the past about to places like the UAE about, pushing out Chinese foreign direct investment because it makes them uncomfortable. They would prefer to have the hegemonic power in the region over China. In contrast, China doesn't have the same perception. Due to its command economy, they have the kind of centralized ability to work together with their private industry to strategically invest in specific sectors that not only benefit the Chinese economy, but Chinese concentric foreign policy as well.
In Pakistan, we say that Middle East crawls on its belly, and it's always some part of the Middle East that becomes a geopolitical hub of the global warfare. Do you think that apparently the trade plans are amazing. They are into the BRI issues. They are talking about another trade route between Israel and from Israel till Oman. They are trying to expand the Abraham Accords. But with all that, do you think there can be any more geopolitical factors that can derail this whole thing, and that can be the Achilles heel of this whole project?
Well, geostrategic instability will always be a factor, especially for supply chain issues. We've seen that in the global news in the Red Sea shipping attacks by the Ansara Houthi group from Yemen, which is, arguably a proxy of Iran and part of that great power competition dynamic. Obviously, India would love to build a direct supply chain westward to connect to the Mediterranean and connect to the GCC, but it has to go through Afghanistan, which is very difficult to develop infrastructure right now due to their instability. And so, yes, of course, instability plays a role. But I think when you have a centralized hub in the Arabian Peninsula, as you do with the GCC, you have the ability to develop that infrastructure. And that's what we've been seeing recently.
Thank you so much, Josh, for your insightful comments. And definitely, GCC is going to be the new global leader in the coming years. We actually see that happening, but provided if there is geopolitical stability, because that always plays a key role in that. Well, that's all from the Global Script for today. Keep watching Ocean News.